Selwyn here from WynnStrength.com. Learning is not the same as training. In this video, I wanted to talk about the key differences between learning and training and why they matter to you as a person who's looking to get stronger in the gym. Now, the difference might seem super subtle and somewhat irrelevant at this point, but I think it goes without. I think it goes to mention a good point is that the two are quite different. They're like two sides of the same coin. You kind of can do one or the other, but without both, you're really not going to make it that far, or you're really not going to make the advances that you want to make. Obviously, let's define what I mean by the two terms here, just so we get on the same page. Learning is obviously acquiring knowledge and learning new things. This can come from reading, listening to audio, watching people, getting taught in a classroom, literally you just acquiring new knowledge about a topic. Training, on the other hand, would be you executing on that knowledge. This would be different to like competing, obviously. So we're doing learning, training, and then there's the ultimate finale point of like both of those are hand in hand when you want to display that acquired skill, that acquired knowledge. But training is the implementation of the learning in a controlled environment. So what I mean by this is, say, let's take driving, for example. I can read about how to drive. I can read about how a steering wheel works, how a gas pedal works, how to shift gears, what the indicators are used for. I can read all about that. But until I get behind the wheel of a car, I can't say that I've driven, and I can't say I know how to drive. I can read all I want about a topic, but until I go do that particular activity, I can't say I'm able to do that activity. And if we take it on the flip side, if I just hop in a car and start driving and I don't know what anything does, yes, can I figure it out? I'll probably figure it out eventually. It might take me a couple of hours, like it might take me a while to figure out what things do depending on the complexity of the task. I might not know to turn the key in the ignition to start the car. I might not know what the gears mean if I haven't read anything about driving a car. So when you look at it like that, yes, you can figure things out, you can stumble your way across just by simply doing, but if you have some sort of learning understanding behind that, then that's going to accelerate your returns in doing. So when I read about how to drive a car and then I get in the car and subsequently start to drive that car, I'll be a far better driver than if I just got into the car and started driving. And it's just like that with training. And I think it explains a lot with training. I think it definitely highlights a big flaw in my training when I first got started, because the biggest thing that it is it's your how versus your why. Because when you first start training, like everybody else, I think, you get those muscle mags and you read the 5-day body part split and you just do that because the dude on the cover looks jacked and strong. I'm like, oh, obviously you want to look like that guy. So what does he do? He does this arbitrary program with no real rhyme or reason behind the program. There's no progression. There's no information about how it can be tailored to you. It's just do this exercise for this sets and reps, followed by this one, followed by this one, followed by this one, and just keep doing that. There's no real depth behind that program. And yes, it was free. Yes, it was this. But the thing is, if you read that and then you just go to the gym and start doing that work, yes, at the start, it's going to work out real well for you because you've taken that first step. You've read about a program, you're like, oh, cool, I have a certain goal. I have some sort of framework as to what I should do when I get into the gym. And that's great. You're gonna learn a little bit and then you're gonna start doing. But at some point, that doing is not going to be enough because you're going to run out of strategies and tactics to advance you further. And I think that's what held me back for so long, is that I was simply staying on the surface and finding programs that, weren't that great, but at least I was finding programs to follow. And then eventually I just kept with that framework and then just kept doing. I failed to educate myself more, and I failed to try and become a better student of the technical, theoretical aspects behind strength training and strength development and working out. But in the recent years, what I've endeavored to do is to learn more about that. So I've wanted to learn more about training programming structure, wanted to learn more about how to move, how to improve the technical execution of my lifts, why I should do certain lifts, when I should do certain lifts, how to load, what the set rep structure should be. And that hasn't meant that I've stopped training. I've continually been training while learning and implementing what I've learned into the training as I learn them. I haven't just stopped training until I learn everything. I keep training while I'm learning, and it feeds hand in hand. I'm doing both at the same time. And I think that's what's helped me advance so far in the recent years, is that I know the how, but I also understand the why underneath what's happening. So when I see a program, I can assess whether it's good or not, depending on some key fundamentals that I think are true and correct. But that's going to change in a year or two when I learn more, obviously, and figure out more and experience more as well. So it's a two-way feedback street. My learning will affect my training, but my training also affects my learning. And not only do you have to look externally for those cues, so look at other coaches, look at other authors, look at other subject matter experts for that matter, people that are better than you, look for them for advice. But that's for the learning side. But then for the training side, you need to take an internal response and look within and assess yourself and assess your own progress, assess your own what your own feedback is to that stimulus that you just placed. So if a program said, just let's say, take a hugely extreme example, one dude said he did 1,000 squats a day and he got an awesome squat out of that. That might have worked for him. If I try that and just say I try 1,000 squats a day and I can't work out for the next week because I'm so sore, that might not have been the best program for me. It might have worked for him, but for me, now I know that 1,000 squats a day isn't for me. It might be for you, it might be for someone else, but it might not be for me. And if we take that down to other styles of programming, there's all these types of different programming, all these types of how to train, all these types of how to perform a squat. So someone might say high bar squat is best. Someone might say low bar squat. Low bar squat is best. But for me, what is best for me, and that comes from me trying both the high bar and the low bar and any other variant I want to try. And whichever one of those I'm getting the best performance on, I can self-assess and realize that, oh, hey, low bar back squat helps me squat more. But low bar back squat causes pain in my shoulders. So what do I do about that? Now I have to learn about how do I train with pain in my shoulders, and how do I get around training with that while still performing a squat. So then this opens up learning cues for learning, and then that will help me implement changes in my training so that I can continually progress forward. And I think for myself personally, not ignoring the learning side of training has held me back significantly in previous years. And I think by unlocking the why underneath the how is going to be huge in changing your training and really helping you advance as a lifter. And when we take this out to the rest of life, it's going to help you everywhere in life. The more you learn, the more you're going to be able to figure things out and execute out in the real world as well. Hopefully this helps you, part of the Mindset series. This has been Selwyn from WynnStrength, striving to be a better lifter and a better thinker.